Let me welcome you to the freest state in these United States. From the very beginning, we refused to let this state descend into some type of Faucian dystopia where people's freedoms are curtailed and their livelihoods are destroyed. We protected people's rights. We protected people's jobs. We protected small businesses, and we made sure that every kid in the state of Florida had an opportunity to go to school in person 5 days a week. My duty is to stand up and protect the freedoms and the jobs of the people I represent. And if that puts me in political jeopardy, then so be it. I will stand with them. I'm not going to try to protect my own hide.
We've just gotten results in now from the state of Florida, big governor's race in the state of Florida, where the Democratic candidate Andrew Gillum has just conceded to Ron Desantis, the Republican candidate.
The votes are now in. At this point, we are calling this race for the next governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis.
The opportunity to serve as the 46th governor of the great state of Florida is the greatest professional honor of my life. Thank you, the people of Florida, for your faith, your support, and your trust you have placed in me. The only thing I could fully control was how hard I worked, and while I was confident in achieving a victory, I was at peace knowing that I worked as hard as I possibly could, and I left everything out on the field.
When we look out over the United States of America, when we are anywhere, when we see a group of people such as this or anywhere, we see Americans, we see human beings. We don't see groups, we don't see victims, we don't see people we want to exploit. What we see is potential. We do not look out across the country and see the average American, the person that makes this country work. We do not see that person with contempt. We don't think that person doesn't have what it takes. We believe that person can be the best he or she wants to be if certain things are just removed from their path, like onerous taxes, regulations, and too much government.
Now, as governor, I'll make sure Florida remains a low-tax state. We'll hold people in government accountable. We'll protect taxpayer dollars, and we'll ensure that Floridians from all walks of life have that open field and fair chance to realize their dreams. And for those of you in high-tax states who may be contemplating investing in Florida, please know that we will remain open for business. And we will save you an awful lot in taxes if you bring your investment to Florida. And as Biden flounders, Florida is leading on issue after issue. We have the largest budget surplus and the lowest per capita tax burden in the entire United States, and no income tax, and we won't have that as long as I'm governor.
Look where the book started. You know, have you ever seen people who come from countries that never had much, how happy they are? I met a couple who were both in concentration camps, and they are as happy a couple as I've ever seen. They know what the other side looks like. And anytime they had a full meal and prosperity around them, air conditioned, they were happy. And me, I'm big on air conditioning, so but look, what is there for me to be unhappy about? What is there? Look where it all started. Look at this great country. Look what I've had. I've got my wife is my best friend. We can sit on the bus for hours. I have an RV, and we can sit there. We just love being together. Then, look at what I've been appointed by a president of the United States to do. To serve the country in a way at the highest part, one of the highest parts of our government. Look at the education I've been afforded, the books I've been able to read. I don't know what you tell kids when you almost consistently send messages of hopelessness to them. I grew up my grandfather used to say, we were poor but proud. So the neighborhood was clean, people obeyed laws, people believed in the country, people were patriotic, people went to church on Sunday. That didn't mean there wasn't anything wrong, but those were all the messages that you got every day instead of this message of hopelessness.
I believe this appointment of Judge Francis is one that will really reinvigorate and fortify our judiciary in a very positive way, but also send a great message that you can realize your dreams. People come from all walks of life, and it's really about the content of your character, your willingness to work hard, your willingness not to be denied and take no for an answer. There's always going to be people that tell you you can't do this or you can't do that. Well, I think Judge Francis is proof that you can start off with long odds and you can still do great things. You really need to understand what makes America the country it is. We're not a country where everyone has the same religious denomination, or everyone has the same ethnic heritage. What unites us, or what's supposed to, is the idea and certain principles that the country was founded on, that you see reflected in the Constitution, that have really been the focal points for a lot of the great debates we've had in the country's history. And I think it's important that when we're sending some of these students out, that they're not only prepared for a career or prepared for higher education, but they're prepared to discharge the duties of citizenship.
What I would like to see us do during a time like this is to advance the notion of individual liberty, private property rights, constitutionalism, a secure border, strong military, and all the things that we conservatives need to be talking about.
Last year, we called a special session to protect every Florida job from Biden's vax mandates, and we succeeded. We've sent people to the Texas border and are suing Biden over his catch and release policy because he is not following the Constitution by letting our borders be overrun. We stand up against the weak on crime policies that is ravaging cities all across the country and what he supports, and we are standing against his reckless fiscal policies where they've printed trillions of dollars, and now we have rampant Bidenflation. The inflation is because of his policies, and we're not going to let anyone forget that.
Whereas I think conservatives want to stop people from being disadvantaged. The liberals want to help the poor while they're poor, but really the biggest benefit is to stop them from being poor. And that they have very little interest in.
What is the liberal premise?
I guess the Rousseau notion, that man is born free but is everywhere in chains, that the real problem of the world is that the institutions are wrong. If the institutions were right, then there was nothing in human nature that would cause us to be unhappy. It's the fact that we have the wrong institutions.
What is the conservative premise?
That man is flawed from day one, and that there are no solutions, there are only trade-offs. And whatever you do to deal with one of man's flaws, it creates another problem. But that you try to get the best trade-off you can get, and that's all you can hope for.
The left wants to do that because their goal is not to make our country great, it's to marginalize the conservative half of the country. They want us to be powerless, they want us to be voiceless, they want us to be second-class citizen. And what are these ideological aims? The woke is the new religion of the left. And this is what they have in mind. That's why they want CRT, because they want to divide the country. That's why they remove statues of Thomas Jefferson and Abraham Lincoln and Teddy Roosevelt. Take George Washington's name off schools, because they want to erase that history. They want to delegitimize our founding institutions, and they want to replace that with their left-wing ideology as the foundational principles of our modern-day society. Wokeism is a form of cultural Marxism. It is not just about raising taxes or bad economic policy. It's about tearing at the fabric of our society and trying to replace it with something that will be much, much more sinister. And the problem that we face as conservatives is a lot of major institutions in our country have become infected with this woke virus.
Tonight, I want to dispel their confusion once and for all, and I want each of you to personally think for a moment and rediscover what it actually means, beyond politics, what it means to be a conservative. We are dedicated to the Constitution and its principles, not because we cling to our Bible and our guns. We are dedicated to the Constitution and its principles because we are clear-minded, because we are rational, because we have the courage enough to recognize the self-evident truth that mankind by his nature has a God-given identity, that we are endowed by this Creator, that we are endowed by this Creator with those rights that are ours simply because we exist. If you don't know why the Constitution matters, then you are the one that is confused, not us.
Florida has led the way in preserving what the father of our country called the sacred fire of liberty. It is the fire that burned in Independence Hall when 56 men pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to establish a new nation conceived in liberty. It's the fire that burned at a cemetery in Gettysburg when the nation's first Republican president pledged to this nation a new birth of freedom. It's the fire that burned among the boys who stormed the beaches of Normandy to liberate a continent and to preserve freedom for the world. It's the fire that infused the young preacher's dream, relayed at the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, that the Declaration of Independence said what it meant and meant what it said. All men are created equal. It is the fire that led a resolute president to stand in Berlin and declare, "Tear down this wall," staring down the communists and winning the Cold War. It is our responsibility here in Florida to carry this torch. We do not run from this responsibility. We welcome it. We will be on our guard. We will stand firm in the faith. We will be courageous. We will be strong. And we thank God and are proud to be citizens of the great free state of Florida. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this state and everybody throughout the land.